province found in the center of the Canadian prairies, is known for its wonderful summers, but long, brutal winters.
Gail Miller was a nurse's assistant who was going to school and working in Saskatoon.
Gail shows a passion for working with children from a young age. She is born in 1948, and she grows up in Laura, a small community just west of Saskatoon. When she is 12, she begins babysitting for a child that is terminally ill.
By all accounts, a wonderful person and starting to lead her life and pursue a career. She lived in a home about a block away from where her body was found. She had, I think, 2 or 3 roommates.
There is little doubt that a promising future had been stolen from Gail. The area where Gail lives and the body is found is familiar to the police, as it's where they've previously warned of a sexual predator.
The police obviously went to the scene. They canvassed the whole area.
The first officer on the scene finds a sweater that looks to be torn from Gail, along with her missing boot.
They were able to identify items belonging to Gail Miller, contents of her purse, identification, some of her clothing, and it was strewn in a way leading away from where she had been located.
Her property is strewn about the area, like her boot. Other things, like her purse with her identification, is found inside a garbage can.
When they were seizing biological samples from the clothing of the deceased, from the body of the deceased, they found some residue in the snow that was supposedly semen. They wouldn't have the same sort of DNA level technology, but they had tools at the time and they used them.
The police scour the neighborhood for any information that they can find, anything that might lead them to a possible suspect.
You never know who might have seen or heard something when investigating a case. And when a murder happens in an alley, there's at least a chance that a passerby witnessed something that could assist the police in their investigation. It doesn't always lead anywhere, but it's a starting point.
While the case is focused on Gail Miller's murder, there is still a sexual predator on the loose, and more women being assaulted.
People inside the police department had developed what they called a modus operandi, an MO, for how this attacker had attacked his victims. What were some characteristics of what did this person do when he attacked? They wrote to the RCMP to try to see if they had some resources available that could help them build a profile.
But even with a profile in mind, they still don't have anyone to link it to. Although their identity is unknown, police believe the killer could be linked to the recent sexual assaults. With no major suspects, they begin offering a $2,000 reward for any information leading to the conviction of Gail's murderer. After offering the reward, more women come forward, reporting incidents. Police eliminate 160 suspects and are still no closer in finding a person of interest. Finally, investigators think they have a break when a man walks in with information that is exactly what they're looking for. A month after Gail's death, police are approached by a man named Albert Shorty Cadrain. Cadrain claims that his friend, David Milgard, visited him on the morning that Gail was murdered.
Milgard had driven overnight with 2 friends from Regina to Saskatoon to visit a friend who, by crazy coincidence, happened to live about a block away from where Gail Miller's body had been found. And they were having trouble locating the friend's home. They stopped at a motel. They helped some people who were stuck in a back lane. And then eventually they got to where they wanted to go, and then carried on. They then traveled on further west, just having a sort of a carefree road trip of 16-year-old, 17-year-old kids. How Milgard gets onto the police radar screen is that, yes, they post a reward, and Cadrain, the friend that Milgard had gone to visit, goes in and implicates Milgard and says that he had seen blood on Milgard's pants the morning of the murder, and that changed everything.
Milgard is accused of being seen with blood on his clothes soon after the murder is known to have taken place. If this blood belongs to Gail, the police may have their culprit.
is that really me? Oh my gosh. Wow. Who am I? Oh my God. I can't believe I have no lines in my face. I'm just in love with the mirror right now. It's a facelift in a jar.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Greenhut, the CEO of Plexiderm. We've created the best offer yet with our Memorial Day Plexiderm 10-minute challenge. All it takes is 10 minutes to reduce the appearance of under eye bags, wrinkles, and crow's feet. People across the country look and feel years younger in minutes.
Here, I don't look 61 in 3 weeks, and this is only because of Plexiderm.
Holy like I look 15 years younger. The instant results are from naturally based silicates. Once applied, your skin tightens and firms, rapidly reducing the appearance of under eye bags and wrinkles in minutes. So if under eye bags and wrinkles make you look tired and older, try it this Memorial Day for only $14.95 plus get free shipping.
If you've been injured in an accident that's not your fault and you don't have an attorney, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to tell you what your case is potentially worth. Hello, I'm Gina, along with spokesperson Rob. Rob, tell the folks at home who should be calling right now.
Well, just like you said, Gina, anyone who's been injured in an accident that was not your fault, you don't have an attorney, give us a call right now, and we're going to let you know what your case is potentially worth.
Thanks, Rob. So what kind of calls have we been seeing today?
Well, Gina, we're getting calls from all types of accidents today. Work accidents, slip and falls, truck accidents, and most commonly, car accidents. So if you were injured in an accident that was not your fault, you don't have an attorney, take that first step, pick up that phone and give us a call. We're going to answer your questions and we'll let you know how much money you can get for your accident.
Thanks, Rob. All right, folks at home, you heard it. Go ahead, don't hesitate, take that first step and call now.
This is the all-day, everyday bra. Super comfortable. Oh my goodness.
I just love this bra. Telling you Fabletics never misses. It actually hooks in the back for more support.
This is my favorite so far.
You really can wear it all day, every day, too.
Every day feels like a vacation in PAC's Coastal Collection. Made with 100% organic cotton, these looks are light, breathable, and always go with the flow. Throw it in your carry-on, sport it as a set, or add it to your weekly rotation. Because some things are made for everything, especially organic cotton. Shop the Coastal Collection at wearpact.com.
They're called Dynasty Hammock Underwear. Soft, sweat-wicking, breathable underwear with a supportive pouch built in. You don't realize you need new underwear until you try these. Love your first pair or they're free. Upgrade to hammock underwear at dynasty.com.
My friends call me Zam. I naturally hold a lot of stress in my digestive system, as a lot of women do. When I travel, I get constipated, I get really poop shy. When I started taking DSO1, I immediately noticed how much lighter I felt, vibrant, alive. It really helps me stay regular, and you're not bloated at all. I honestly recommend DSO1 to everyone.
As you get older, your liver health becomes an increasingly important part of the aging process. We created Dose for your liver to make taking care of your liver easy. Dose is an organic blend of liver-supporting ingredients and is clinically backed to promote healthy liver function so that nothing's holding you back.
Guys, it's like Dave was made for me. No drama, no games.
Who? Oh, I know Dave.
The best.
Let me see a pic. A banking app?
The banking app for everyday people.
Dave gives you what those other guys don't.
There's no overdrafts or late fees.
You could get extra cash when you need it.
Okay. I'm with it.
I think I found the one. There's an easier way to bank and get up to $500 in 5 minutes or less when you download Dave.
Ready to party? I'm talking about Jackpot Party, the leading free-to-play mobile slots game that always gives you more. Download Jackpot Party for free and get a 45 million coin bonus. Jackpot Party, a party in every spin.
On a late morning in January 1969, children on their way to school are met by a terrible sight. Gail Miller's body is found in the snow down an alley. Soon after, the police arrive on the scene. Gail is a 20-year-old woman working as a nursing assistant in a pediatric ward at the local hospital. Her life is unfortunately cut short. When the police offer a $2,000 reward for information leading to a conviction, their first major suspect comes to light.
Milgard had driven overnight with two friends from Regina to Saskatoon to visit a friend.
After Cadrain approached police implicating Milgard, they begin a search. Milgard is found in his home city of Winnipeg and brought in for questioning.
When police require investigating an accused person in a different jurisdiction, it requires assistance from the police in that jurisdiction. So generally they just reach out to them and then they will work together to get the alleged criminal off the streets.
Cadrain reveals to the police that Milgard and his two friends had visited his house that morning, and all three of them get interrogated. And all three of them say, I don't know what you're talking about. And Milgard was very cooperative and tried to reconstruct where he'd been. It was dark and he didn't really know his way around, but he tried to reconstruct his way around and he was trying to be as helpful as possible.
Milgard tells the police about his time in Saskatoon, about how his friends and him got lost, how they helped someone who had gotten their car stuck in the snow. The friends Milgard had been traveling with are interviewed. Their stories match much closer to what Milgard had said than the version that Cadrain had told.
Separating witnesses during questioning is extremely important. It allows the police to corroborate details, and even small details and differences between people's stories can have a huge impact on how the case goes. Separating them allows the police to do their job properly. Not only do they corroborate evidence, it really shows that they're hiding anything. Those details that are hidden will come out.
Everybody's friends as well said, nothing happened. We got into Saskatoon, we got lost, we finally found our way to Cadrain's, and then we headed off to Edmonton.
This was a group of kids picking up a friend for a road trip. They were in Saskatoon just a short period of time.
According to Cadrain, Milgard showed up to his home with bloodstains on his pants and acted suspicious the rest of the road trip. With no leads on the sexual attacker in Saskatoon and pressure mounting, the police decide to dig deeper into Milgard.
The police start to harden their view that Cadrain might be correct. If that's true, then in the police mind, when Milgard and his friends said nothing happened, it must mean that they weren't telling the whole story. So the police created a roadmap of what they wanted or believed they could get from Nicole, John, and Ron Wilson, the two friends. And they took them to Saskatoon.
Milgard's friends are questioning the game and admit that there is a 12-minute period where they don't know where Milgard is. After helping one driver get unstuck from the snow, their own car breaks down, and both David and one friend go in opposite directions in search of help.
12 minutes might seem like a lot, but it takes far less than 12 minutes to commit a murder. And 12-minute window when there's no witnesses or any suspects to see what happened, it's enough to build a case around.
And they put Nicole John into a women's prison overnight, and they put a polygraph operator in with Ron Wilson, and they started working on them. Gradually, the police got them from nothing happened to Wilson implicating Milgard, saying he saw blood on his pants, and Milgard making admissions that he had stabbed her or fixed her or whatever his words were. And they got Nicole John to the point where she said that she was an eyewitness and saw Milgard do it.
Police get enough from Milgard's friends that they are able to put together an idea of what happened on the morning of the murder.
There's no question that police put a lot of pressure on both Ron Wilson and Nicole John.
Even with his friends going on record as to what Milgard has done, he continues to deny everything.
The police were aware of the sexual attacker who'd been operating in Saskatoon in the fall of 1968, And they were quite public in the media that they were linking that sex attacker to the murder.
4 months after the murder of Gail Miller, David Milgaard was officially arrested and charged with her murder.
One of the unique aspects of the case was that in Canada currently, the law is that when you have a preliminary inquiry, there's a publication ban. The media can't publish the evidence of a preliminary inquiry. Milgaard's preliminary inquiry happened just before that law took effect. So all the evidence at the preliminary inquiry was on a daily basis published in the Saskatoon Star-Phoenix. And then when it went to trial, obviously there was plenty of coverage as well. It was kind of a big deal in the local media.
Things only get worse for David Milgaard. While being transported to testify at the trial, Ron Wilson tells police he hears from Lapchak and Melnia, acquaintances, partying with Milgaard in a Regina motel just 4 months after Gail Miller's murder, where Milgaard is teased about being responsible. He responds by asking for a paring knife and acts out how he stabbed her 14 times.
It became sort of this large part of the final nail in his coffin at the trial.
Milgaard's trial garners much attention, and over 40 people testify.
And the Crown kind of gave a general theory about how this homicide had occurred and how Milgaard fit into that picture. You know, the defense, I guess, tried its best to try to rebut that. So the jury was just left with this sort of still image. And once they had that information, then they were fully on the rails to go and arrest and prosecute successfully. And they convicted.
At drivetime.com, we've been hard at work. And we finally did.
Did you make it so I can finally see my real payments and shop at thousands of cars with no hit to my credit?
Wait. Yes!
Shop for cars online with no credit hit.
Look, there's a slidey thingy. I'm changing my own payments. I feel strong!
Go to drivetime.com, get approved, shop real cars, customize your road times with no credit hit.
We did it, Drive Time!
Shop for cars online with no credit hit at drivetime.com.
It's not horrible. Okay, it sucks. Why is Shaper so awful? Why does it create so many rolls and squeeze my insides to jelly? Oh, this is so comfortable. And it has flexible side boning to keep it up all night long. The shorts are made out of mesh to keep things breezy. And the gusset of the shorts has an opening to make bathroom trips a cinch. Any occasion, anytime, anywhere. Try Honey Love today and stop it with the sausage squeeze.
Waiting till Friday to get paid is tricky. I'm a musician and a music teacher, and I play gigs. Sometimes I have to travel and rent out equipment for the weekend, or else I have to cancel. Then I heard about Charmed. Now I get paid 2 days early, no fees. Early payday guarantees that I can make it to any gig, any rehearsal, anytime. It's easier for me to do what I was put on the planet to do, and that's music. Charm really makes it easier for me to live my dreams. Join me at charm.com.
Strapless bras never fit small-chested women. You get awful cup gaps, and the bra never stays up. Meet the bra that you can actually count on by Pepper, the bra company just for small boobs. The MVP strapless bra gives you flattering lift that stays up all day with no cup gaps, specially designed for double A to B cups.
The bra speaks for itself. It fits me like a glove.
It's a strapless bra perfected for small boobs. Go to wearpepper.com.
Quince is quiet luxury at disruptive prices. Because beautiful things should be for everyone. With Quince, you can get more summer essentials, more high-quality materials, and more of life's finer things. Because quality should never be a luxury. Quince. Get $20 off your first purchase at quince.com.
Looking for a way to stretch the dollar? With Insurify, you can cut your car insurance bill in half. Scroll through dozens of prices and tap to switch online. That's it. No phone calls and no wasted time. Go to Insurify and save today.
At Consumer Cellular, we pride ourselves on giving you fast, reliable nationwide coverage at up to half the cost of the leading carriers. But don't worry, we've got more than that going for us. Like this beautiful store in Arizona, for example. It's the perfect place for me to tell you a little bit more about our phones and how they can become your phones. You name it, we probably got it. We have the top smartphones from all the major companies. If it's state-of-the-art cameras you want, we got them. If you want a smartphone with lots of bells and whistles but won't break the bank, we've got that too. We even have a flip phone, like the Iris Flip. We even have watches. I know what you're thinking. What if I don't have one of these amazing stores in my town yet? Can I get these phones sent to me?
Yes, you can.
Is it easy?
Easy as pie.
And for a limited time, new customers get their second month free. Call 800-918-5494. Find us in Target or visit consumercellular.com to switch today.
She knows what she's talking about. Pick up the phone.
I had a full face of cystic acne.
It looks clear. Like therapy mask has really done wonders for my skin.
This is the best my skin has been ever.
I struggled quite badly with acne. I used to break out all the time on my forehead, cheeks, chin, even on my neck. As long as I can remember, I've always had acne.
It has quite literally transformed my skin.
My skin is looking so much better.
It's just really like my skin has overall just been so much healthier.
I've never had clear skin like I have now.
My life has changed.
This is the emergency fire blanket from Prepared Hero. Lightweight, portable, easy-to-use tool to extinguish fires safely and effectively. Pull it out of the pouch and toss it on the fire. It's better to have it and not need it than it is to need it and not have it.
Coming up next on True Crime Network. Late January 1969, kids on their way to school find Gail Miller's body in a snowy alley. The case looks to be going cold until a $2,000 reward prompts citizens to come forward.
Cadrain, the friend that Milgard had gone to visit, goes in and implicates Milgard and says that he had seen blood on Milgard's pants the morning of the murder, and that changed everything.
After a series of interrogations of Milgard and his friends, the police have eyewitness testimony that Milgard may have been responsible.
The police got them from nothing happened to Wilson implicating Milgard.
Milgard and two acquaintances learn of Gail's murder on the news. Milgard jokingly acts out that he stabbed her.
The police start to harden their view that Cadrain might be correct.
David Milgard is convicted exactly 1 year after the murder of Gail Miller. Milgard spends the next decade in prison until getting a glimpse of freedom in 1980.
After he got convicted, the family was resigned. Like, what are they going to do? And not a lot happened for many years, 9 years roughly. Then what happened is David escaped.
After a decade in prison for a crime he swears he did not commit, David Milgard is desperate enough to live a life on the run if it means his freedom and not having to go back to prison. Milgard is let out on a day pass to attend a family barbecue in Winnipeg.
David was on a temporary absence from the prison and didn't come back. And he was leading a life in Toronto, had a girlfriend, and was selling jewelry and stuff on the street in 1980s era Toronto. They were obviously looking for him. And David sensed the presence of law enforcement, and he ran. And he got shot.
His mother, Joyce, is immediately at his side in the hospital.
When he was in the hospital, Joyce decided that she had to do something. And so 1980, she said, I'm not going to wait. They tried to get lawyers. They tried to get some help.
Milgard's desperate attempt to be free has not only led to him being shot, but a mother's resolve to prove that the Saskatoon police really did have it wrong, basing the case on loose timelines, flawed interrogations, and unreliable tips. David's conviction being one of tunnel vision, a system that clearly was wrong.
Nobody was interested in something you didn't do, as the lyric goes. And then she took it on herself. She put up a reward and posted the reward all through Saskatoon, saying, anybody who has any information, tell me. My first week at work was the week of March 3rd, 1986. Day 3, the Wednesday, was when we met Joyce Milgaard. And in walks Mrs. Milgaard, and my boss, Hirsch Walsh, hauls me out of the hallway and says, Asper, get in here. And, introduces me to Mrs. Milgaard. And she's pointing her finger on the desk, but my son is innocent. He had 17 years in at the time. He said, you need to do something about it.
Joyce tells David Asper about what her son has gone through. The trip that led to his arrest, the interrogations, and his conviction.
When Mrs. Milgaard first came to see us, she gave us bags and boxes of documents. And there's sort of two piles. One pile was his life in prison, and the second was all the trial and sort of all the court stuff. And I didn't know where to start. I started with his life in prison. It still affects me to this day to have read through the words of Corrections Canada describing a somewhat scattered 17-year-old kid get sucked up into that system and not do well, which understates what his experience was.
David Asper travels to prison to meet with David Milgaard.
I was actually shocked when I met him, because on paper, you read this whole horrible story of his incarceration, and you're not sure what you're going to get. And in popped this very affable, friendly, very engaging human being, and I was really surprised. It's one of the most enduring things that people should understand about him is that and he would say it quite openly, the system took him, but it didn't own him. It owned him maybe for a little while, and then once he got on his feet, didn't own him, wouldn't let them.
David Asper has a lot of work ahead of him. But after seeing David Milgaard's resilient attitude and his mother Joyce's dedication, he is motivated to prove David Milgaard's innocence. Back in Winnipeg, David Asper continues to build his case.
I mean, the first thing I did when I began my representation of David was I read the trial transcript. And I could see on its surface, I could see how he could have been convicted. I can see that. And I said to him, okay, tell me why, tell me what's wrong here. Whether you say that it was an illegal or an overbearing interrogation isn't really the point. The point is that it had enough pressure that two young kids went from nothing happened to becoming the core of the Crown's case against David Milgaard. And how did that happen? We know there were questionable techniques. The police brought in a polygraph examiner to work on Ron Wilson. And you can see in some of the police documents where they were clearly of a view that either Wilson was a witness or he was involved. Okay, what does that mean? So now it means that the police are saying to Wilson, you're either a co-killer with Milgaard or you're innocent and maybe you have some evidence for us. What's it going to be?
Sometimes when involved in an interrogation, more needs to be done than simply asking a question and getting the truthful answer. The fact of the matter is, using scare tactics and twisting the words of children is not going to be good police interrogation, no matter what the ultimate conclusion is.
It's a reworking of the universal lie that's known in polygraph, which is, if I ask you, have you ever hurt anybody? If you say no, that's probably not a credible answer. If you say yes, I'm going to use it to say, well, if you hurt somebody before, maybe you'll hurt somebody in the back alley in Saskatoon. I don't think police want to get the wrong person, but there's this psychological switch that clicks without malice, where the mindset completely changes, and then everything becomes about sort of fulfilling that theory of the case to the exclusion of everything else, and that's what happened here.
A key piece of evidence in David's trial was the testimony citing his alleged reenactment of the murder in a motel room. But the moment is called into question. If it happened at all, It appears to be teenagers joking around.
That evidence came out of the blue for the Crown Attorney, where Milgaard supposedly reenacted the murder. It came from two people charged with robberies who got stunningly low sentences for pleading guilty to those robberies.
These are the same two people that Wilson mentions to police, Lapchuk and Milnyuk.
It was early in the case, and we had a witness whose evidence initially was, no, that never happened, and then it evolved, and maybe it did happen, but it was all a joke. By this point, Milgaard had been questioned, and whatever happened in there is sort of irrelevant because he didn't commit the crime. To this day, I think the one thing the jury didn't have the benefit of understanding or seeing, which is that if you take what the Crown said happened and you locate everybody, it's not a diorama. It's not like a frozen image. It's dynamic. And when we took what the Crown said happened on its face and set it in motion, it made no sense. So I took my own little VHS camera and I went myself. I did all the walking, I did all the movement and timed it. And when I did that and videotaped it, it just hit me like, holy smokes, like there's no chance any of this happened the way it was portrayed for the jury. Okay, it didn't happen that way. It couldn't have happened that way. That's when I kind of knew that there was something seriously wrong here.
Lawyer David Asper and Joyce Milgaard are certain that David did not kill Gail Miller, but the question then remains, who did?
To prove that there is such a thing as free money, we gave people a little sample of Ibotta.
Hi, would you like to try a sample? What is it? Ibotta.
If I can just take this. Is this real?
Yes, you're not allergic, right?
Get cash back every time you shop with Ibotta.
A better banking app is right at your fingertips. Download Dave, and you could get up to $500 in 5 minutes or less, right through your phone. There's no interest, no credit checks, and no late fees. Because getting help shouldn't set you back. Switch to the banking app made for you, and you could get up to $500 in 5 minutes or less. Download the Dave app now, or go to dave.com today.
It's our biggest sale of the year. Shop all your favorite classics, like our super comfy waffle collection and our best-selling cold weather leggings at the best prices ever. From extra warm polar fleece jackets and our famous go-to sweats, we have what you need to stay warm all winter long. Go to fabletics.com and get 70% off every single thing.
This thing is awesome.
You still haven't broken up with bad bras and gone to honeylove.com? Take your current torture device of a bra. It in no way fits your body. And the underwire
Stabs me in the boobs constantly.
not anymore, thanks to Honeylove.
Wow. There's no spillage and no gap.
And there's no underwire. Don't take it from me. Look at all these 5-star reviews. Women everywhere are breaking up with bad bras.
Most probiotics don't survive digestion. That means whatever you're taking for your gut probably isn't getting where it needs to go. Seed's DSO1 Daily Symbiotic is the 2-in-1 prebiotic and probiotic engineered to survive, bringing live bacteria all the way down to the colon toward a healthy digestive, skin, heart, and immune system. Get started today with Seed's DSO1 Daily Symbiotic. Visit seed.com to order now.
They're called Shynasty Hammock Underwear. Soft, sweat-wicking, breathable underwear with a supportive pouch built in. You don't realize you need new underwear until you try these. Love your first pair or they're free. Upgrade to hammock underwear at shynasty.com.
The first beach towel you'll ever love is a sand cloud. Sand-free, extra large, extra soft, and 10% donated for every towel sold. So the best towel under the sun supports the best causes under the sea. Get yours at sandcloud.com.
Have you ever wondered why traditional laundry detergent can contain up to 80% water? We at EarthBreeze have created a new dissolvable laundry detergent. Because why pay extra for water? Just put a pre-measured sheet into any washing machine, watch it dissolve in hot or cold water, and your laundry will come out fresh and clean every time. EarthBreeze has tens of thousands of 5-star reviews and a clean laundry money-back guarantee. Join the millions of Americans who've made the switch and ditched the plastic. Learn more at earthbreeze.com.
From the crime scene, it was just bizarre, to the
investigation.
Everybody is a suspect.
Uncover the mysteries and reveal the final hours before the crime. The Last 24, next on True Crime Network.
Gail Miller is found dead on a winter morning in 1969. Exactly 1 year later, David Milgaard is convicted for her murder. David Asper is brought onto the case by David Milgaard's mother in hopes of freeing her son.
My first week at work, day 3, was when we met Joyce Milgaard.
And going over the evidence reveals holes in the original court case, including questionable tactics that were put to use when witnesses were being interrogated.
It had enough pressure that 2 young kids went from nothing happened to becoming the core of the Crown's case against David Milgaard.
But just believing David is innocent isn't enough to get him out of prison, and no one is working harder to prove his innocence than his mother. Since David was put behind bars, his mother Joyce was leading the charge to free her son.
And she was relentless. She was analytical. I don't know there was ever a moment where she wasn't focused on getting David out of jail, getting this whole thing undone. And they believed from the day 1 that he was innocent.
Their strategy changes from trying to just prove David's innocence to trying to find another suspect. A big break finally comes when Asper and Joyce get a tip about a man named Larry Fisher.
We've been taking all these steps, and we've initiated contact with the Federal Department of Justice. And then out of the blue one day, we got a tip. And credit to Joyce, because as soon as we heard the name, she remembered seeing that name buried in the reports when police were canvassing the neighborhood. Sure enough, we went back, we were looking at all the handwritten notes from the police officers, and there it is, February 4th, 1969. Police talked to Larry Fisher at the same bus stop that Gail Miller took to work.
At the time of the murder, Larry Fisher wasn't a suspect. He was only questioned as to whether he had witnessed anything. However, he did give the police one interesting piece of information.
And he gave his address, the same address as the home that Milgaard visited that morning.
There is a strange connection in the house that Fisher lives at. He also regularly waits at the same bus stop as Gail Miller.
We got the tip, and we had to go and do our own investigation. The Department of Justice